What's it like living as a female expat in Asia? If I'm Gen X, is it too late for me to start again, rewrite my story, and become a digital nomad? And how do I go about getting a visa? Well, if that or any other questions about living in Asia are of interest to you, good news, you're in the right place. My name is Wendy, and for more than 3 decades, I've lived and worked in 5 different countries in Asia, and I still live and work in Asia, nowadays in Thailand. And as you can probably hear in the background, it's monsoon season here in Thailand. So I was going to go out and walk on the beach, but I can't because A, I'm going to get killed by lightning, and B, I'm going to get as drowned as a rat. If you've ever been in monsoon rain, you know what I'm talking about. So let's have a chat from here. Let's talk about all of the great opportunities that are open to Gen X and older as digital nomads in Asia. Because I have talked in another video about how difficult it can be to get a job in certain areas, certain skilled areas in Asia, particularly if you're taking a job away from a local. But being a digital expat, that's open to everybody. And don't kid yourself into thinking that you need to be a young, nubile, G-stringed, bikini-clad influencer to be a digital nomad. No. That's not true. If you want to do that, all power to you, ladies and gents. But what I'm talking about here is using your particular skill set. And by that, I mean your age, your maturity, and the runs you have on the board. Because there's lots of different ways that you can live and work in Asia as Gen X and older and still have a great time making an income and having a great lifestyle. So let's look at some of the jobs that are available to us, shall we? The first and most obvious one, and the one that COVID taught us, was teaching and coaching online. So during the COVID situation, obviously things were a bit of a disaster, and a lot of teaching went online. And what that taught us is it can be done, and it can be done from anywhere. So I know loads of people who live in Asia as expats and work online. Sometimes their hours might be a little bit different. So if you're tutoring kids in Korea and you're living in Thailand, you might have to think about the school hours in Korea. But don't worry, there are companies that have that organized. And because you've got experience, maybe you've got a degree, maybe you've done some teaching before, at least you're a native English speaker, the jobs are there and available to you. They set it up, put the money into your account, sweet as anything. That's an easy way to start working as a digital nomad if you're looking for a job while you're living as an expat. But there's other jobs as well. If teaching isn't your thing, you can be an executive manager's assistant. So yes, executive manager's assistant. I was thinking, is that right? That's right. So let's say there's lots of corporate high flyers out there. They need someone to organize their diary, to make appointments, to organize travel, all of that can be done remotely. And there's loads of people who do that. So you can live anywhere. You can be on the beach and you can be organizing your executive's travel plans. You don't have to be in an office to do that. You don't have to be standing beside the person. So if you've had experience organizing other people's lives, and I'm sure you have, and I'm sure you've got all of that knowledge and maturity behind you, you're a valued person in the workplace. There's a job for you right there. You might be an accountant or very good with money, one of these money people. So I have a friend here who's Canadian, and she works with all of her Canadian clients from the beach in Thailand. Her hours are a little bit different. She has to organize, business hours at some point if she has to speak to someone face to face. But for the rest of the time, it's all done remotely through her phone, which is a great way. If you're good at accounts, you do not have to be in an office. Or maybe you're a creative. Maybe you love writing. There are lots of people, including some people that I know who live here, who have a whole new lease of life, writing and copywriting or proofing for all of the massive amount of online content that there is, all done remotely, paid in hard currency into their accounts, living in Asia and Southeast Asia. And the other thing that you can do, of course, is remote project management. So if there are projects out there that do not require you to be on site, whatever that is, don't forget you can do all of that remotely. And all of these jobs require an amount of experience behind them. And that's something you've got to sell. You've got experience, you've got the runs on the board, you know what you're talking about, you're dependable, you're good to go. So don't be afraid of making that leap. If you think you're too old, you've always wanted to go and live in, pick a place, I don't know, Japan, but you weren't sure how you were going to do that. You've always wanted to go and live on the beach in Langkawi. Okay, it's open to you. Don't think that just because you're Gen X or older that it's out of your reach. You've got lots of years in you yet, and you've got a place to work. You can still earn money as an expat on a nomad visa. And that brings us to the visa point. Places like Thailand and Malaysia and other countries as well have specific visas for digital nomads. So you're not going to be working illegally. Of course, you can, but I do usually advise against that. But you can work legally as a digital nomad in Asia if you've got something to sell. If you're not sure where to start, just type in a few keywords into Google. Google is your friend, and start looking for jobs, and you would be surprised. You would be surprised. I have another friend who works as a translator. She's Dutch. She speaks a few languages, and they send her heaps and heaps and heaps of documents. She has a certain amount of time she has to translate them from English into Dutch or Dutch into English, one of those two things. She does all of that online, and she lives on the beach. Don't be afraid to make that leap. And if you'd like to know more about the expatriate lifestyle as a woman or as whoever you are, feel free to click on one of the videos that pops up somewhere here. And until I speak to you again, I'm going to go inside before I drown. Have a great evening, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.